Netflix is one of the largest streaming platforms in the world, and its catalog of historical TV shows is constantly growing and changing, with lots of great new historical shows being added over the past year or two. So in this video, I wanted to give you my recommendations of 5 excellent historical TV shows on Netflix that you may not have seen yet, but all of these shows are definitely ones that need to be added to your watch list as soon as possible. Also, a lot of these historical TV shows are Netflix originals, so they should be available across most regions in the world. But before we begin, don't forget, if you love anything to do with historical movies and historical TV shows, then subscribe to my channel, History Spark. At number 5 is The Last Tsar, a docu-series which follows the life of Nicholas II, who was the last Tsar of Russia till he was deposed during the Russian Revolution. With only 6 episodes, the plot moves along at a steady pace and throws viewers into the peak of a revolution. Acting by the main cast and the storyline here is great, with effective use of narration by historical professors and experts to further expand the story taking place on our television screens. It is also refreshing to see that historical accuracy was taken seriously and the history behind the Russian Revolution was told in an honest, educational and engaging way. If I had to give any sort of critique for this historical docuseries, it would be that the socio-economical backdrop leading up to the Russian Revolution was not delved into as well as it could have been. But other than this minor critique, if you're looking for a show that'll help you transition into Russian history, then The Last Tsar is my recommendation for you. At number 4 is Testament, the story of Moses, which is a docuseries depicting the life of Moses from his childhood to his last days leading the Israelites to the Promised Land. This is a 3-part miniseries which tries to depict the entirety of Moses' life, but it ends up spending about 75% of its runtime focusing on Moses and the events that occurred in Egypt. However, that leaves only a minimal amount of time to cover the remaining decades of Moses' life. So the ending is a lot more rushed and streamlined than I would have liked. But despite the poor pacing of the plot, there is a lot to like here, as the series has great acting, fantastic cinematography, and great set pieces and costume design as well. One of my main critiques with this docuseries though is the talking heads in this docuseries are some of the worst I've ever seen. And you can easily forward everything they say and not miss out on any crucial or important detail from the historical show. So all of that just to say, Testament, the story of Moses is a flawed but an enjoyable one-time watch, and if you have a Netflix subscription, there is no reason to not at least check it out if you are unfamiliar with the story of Moses or want to learn about it in a bit more detail. At number 3 is The Cook of Castamar, a Netflix original miniseries which tells a story about an unlikely budding romance between a lowly cook and the Duke of Castamar, each of whom is dealing with their own personal issues and losses, leading them to find comfort wherever they can find it. But of course, as it happens in most historical dramas, a series of political intrigue, miscommunication and jealousy causes a wide range of issues for the couple, and this series does a great job of keeping you engrossed across all 12 episodes with a fascinating and pretty straightforward plot. My main critique with the show though is that the characters are very vanilla, and there are very obvious dividers between the good guys and the bad guys, and the bad guys in the show are just stupidly evil and a little bit over the top. Another minor critique is the series has a very rushed ending which does hurt the overall quality of the series. But if you're looking for something new and different that you may have missed on Netflix, then The Cook of Castamar is my recommendation for you. At number 2 it is Taboo, a historical drama series set in 19th century London, with the primary focus around the East India Company and its influence and power within the British economy and the criminal underworld. This miniseries follows the exploit of an eccentric and powerful businessman, James Delaney, who will go to war with the East India Company and force them to capitulate to his demands or face ruin. Taboo is a very dark historical show, and although the plot can be a bit boring and slow at times, and the action sequences are few and far between, but you will still find yourself glued to your screen by the magnetic and perfect portrayal of James Delaney by Tom Hardy, who single-handedly takes this show from something that should be mediocre to a masterpiece of a series. So if you're looking for a unique, dark and slower paced historical TV series, then Taboo is my recommendation for you. And the top spot goes to Godless, an American Western drama that tells the story of a runaway outlaw who steals a tremendous amount of gold from his mentor and finds himself hiding out in a remote village in New Mexico, where all the inhabitants are women as the men have all died in a terrible mining accident. So I know the plot does sound very convoluted, but I don't want to give too much away and risk spoiling the show for you. But this 7-episode miniseries does a great job of building its world and characters, and by episode 3 you will be glued to your screen to see how this miniseries ends. Godless does a great job of displaying how crazy and lawless parts of 19th century America could be, and also how important and crucial mining was to the economy amongst many other things. So if you like a show with brilliant acting, a fascinating and unique storyline, as well as a look at the Wild West in a totally unique light, then Godless is my recommendation for you. So I hope you enjoyed these recommendations, and please let me know in the comments down below if there are any other newer historical shows released on Netflix that I may have missed out on. And as always, if you want to stay up to date with everything to do with historical TV shows and historical movies, then subscribe to my channel History Spark, and thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.